What's your name?
I'm Tom.
Oh, okay. You didn't introduce yourself.
Okay. Well, besides, yeah, you guys know. So, conflict. Conflict is one of those things where it can occur anywhere for just about any reason, like different beliefs and all sorts of different stuff. But conflict, as a leader, you will have to sometimes recognize these conflicts, and a key to doing that is recognizing the storming phase. How do I switch it?
You tell me. Oh, wait, I can do that. Yeah. This is my
Okay, the storming phase is the biggest phase where most conflict will occur because you're storming. It pretty much explains itself, but by identifying the storming phase, you can help your unit move beyond all conflict situations, and that's really important because as long as there's conflict, they're in the storming phase, and until they get out of the storming phase, they can't move on to norming and performing, and you need to identify that and help them move on. To do that, there's like 4 tools. Be aware of yourself, be aware of others, listen and use your ear. Gar. Gar. Okay. Being aware of yourself. Being aware of yourself, it can work 2 different ways. If you're judging a conflict situation, or if you're in the conflict situation where you're arguing with someone. When you're in a conflict situation and you're like, being like, no, you're wrong and stuff, what the best thing to do is stop, take a breather, count to like 10 or whatever, and rethink what you're thinking. Like, okay, am I dehydrated, tired, hungry? Because all those factors can contribute to you being irritable and not thinking right. So you just want to take like a 10-second breather, count to 100, whatever, just go off and just be like, okay, what am I thinking? What can I do? Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting you, but what's an ear or whatever you're like? Use your ear. I'm pretty sure you weren't just referring to your.
It's an acronym.
It's an acronym.
I think.
Like everything in NYLT is an acronym.
Okay.
Exactly.
This is sometimes I have questions, so I just don't know when to raise my hand.
Okay. But yeah, the biggest, when you're not in a conflict situation, listening or being aware of yourself. Sorry, that means also to be aware of others, and that's the next part. Gar.
Not his fault.
Being aware of others. Okay, this is a bigger part. Once you're aware of yourself, that's the first step so you can help others. I mean, you got to be able to help yourself. But by helping yourself, you can also help others. So helping others is one of those things where you look at their symptoms, like are they tired, are they hungry, have they been not slept for like 3 days, I don't know. And did the other person say something that made them angry or whatever. You want to be aware of their location. Being aware of others isn't just for the people in the group. You want to be aware of the location, like, okay, are they in a place where everyone is? Is it like the opening of a troop meeting and they're like having a big argument right in front of everybody? Because a scout is courteous, you want everyone that's watching to be like, hey, you don't need to be involved, and try to sneak them out and be like, hey, let's go back and talk about this. Maybe not in front of the whole troop while we're trying to do opening. ties into being aware of others. If you listen, you can get better information to help other people. It's all one of those things. It's like using your ears, but not the acronym we're going to talk about next. We want to listen to what they have to say, make them feel like, okay, we're not judging you. We're trying to tell them, hey, we're here for you. Just feel free to voice your opinion. We're not going to judge you at all. We're trying to help. Sure. Ear. Okay. Ear is the biggest point to remember here. Ear is like the basis of all this because it involves all like 3 steps we already talked about. The first step is to ear is E, and that's express, and that's when you to use that you ask the person in the conflict situation, what do you want? What are you doing to get it? And when they express themselves, you want to have them talk, voice their opinion, and just sort of talk. You don't want to judge them. You just sit there sort of like, okay, yeah, and just sort of not judge what they have to say, but sort of be like, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Even if you don't like agree with them, stay neutral, don't debate with them, oh, you're wrong. Even if you feel they're wrong, just be like, okay, I understand, and get information, and let them sort of like spew everything they have out. So they're like not all angry at the person, but they're talking and they're sort of realizing what the issue is. Address is to use that you ask them what is working and what is not working, and when you do that, they're expressing what their issues are, why they think there are issues, and how they want to help fix them. And all these, and again, you want to like listen to them and while they talk, and by doing this, you're not only like finding a solution for them, but they're sort of finding it on their own. So it's sort of a way not to like really trick them, but they're like solving the issue by themselves without realizing it. And it makes it really easy for you and for everyone else because they can realize, oh, this is what I'm doing wrong, or this is what's not working. And they can come up with a solution that can help just about anyone. And it can solve just about any problem. And that's pretty much what resolve is they're pretty much solving the situation by themselves by expressing themselves and addressing the situation and voicing their opinions. Communicating skills, these are pretty much the basic skills that you use in just about any communication event or whatever. We see this in just about every situation. You want to be aware of your feet, hands, mouth, eyes, and ears, and just sort of be aware of that because that can really determine how someone reacts to you. Listening. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You had a whole bunch of like body parts on there. What are you supposed to do with those different body parts?
Well, it's basically sort of like other situations where it's like you want to be in a comfortable position. You want to be listening with your ears.
What about like the hands, feet, and the eyes?
Keep them moving around. It's like you're talking like in front of a group of people. Like you don't want to be just like crossing your arms and just standing there and just be like judging and stuff. It makes you feel more comfortable. Yeah.
What is the neutral position?
The neutral position, it's like this, isn't it?
No.
No.
That's the lead position.
That's the late position that you never
No,
do.
the neutral position isn't. It's just like relaxed with your arms sort of by your sides, like moving them around.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you for clearing that up for me.
Yeah. Communicating skills. This is, again, taking in part sort of using body language, but it's like communicating. You know, use the ear, the 4 tools, be aware of yourself, be aware of others, listen, and just sort of use that all in your speech. Try not to be judgmental, just try to help them out and be there for them. That's the biggest part of this. You don't want to seem like a bad guy, you want to be there for the person, like, okay, I'm here, just voice your concerns, I can help with the situation. You don't want to be judgmental at all.
Is that a dying beaver?
I don't know what that was. Psst. Darn it, went away. Can you clear up address for me? What do I have to do? Yeah, what am I doing when I'm addressing?
Addressing, you're sort of addressing the situation. Like, well, not you, but you're asking the person, okay, what's working? What do you think's working? What do you think is not working? And they're sort of voicing, like, okay, I think this is working because blah, blah, blah. And you just sort of, you want to comment on it a little bit, but you want them to sort of voice their opinion without you encouraging them, like, hey, and then what happened? And you just want them to sort of be on their own and just sort of flow with it. If you get what I'm saying, just sort of like speak when they want to, not you like forcing them to being like, hey, tell me what happened or I'm going to beat you up. Just have them just say it for themselves and they're like, okay, I feel this is what happened.
What if you're both so mad at each other that he'll beat you up if you talk to him?
Well, that goes back to being aware of yourself. And you want to, when you're like really mad at the guy, you just sort of want to be like, okay, I'm going to take a 10-second break. I'm going to like count to 100. I'm just going to go off maybe out in the woods and just take a walk. Just think about what's happening and sort of be like, okay, apply the force like tools to yourself and ear and just be like, okay, what's working, what's not working. And try to talk yourself through it. Just take a breather and just be like, what's going on? I can't be acting like this. And just think, maybe I stayed up too late, maybe I'm tired and hungry and pretty much that. Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm getting this right, express is you're voicing the problem.
Express, you're sort of like talking to them and you're like, okay, what do you think is
going wrong?
not working?
Okay,
what
and
do
then
you think's the issue here?
so that's when you're voicing your concern, and then address is what's working, what's not working, and then resolve.
Oh, I'm sorry. Address is where you do that. Express is where you're asking what do you want and why do you want it. And what are you doing to get it? That's express. Sorry, I got those confused.
All right, no problem.
Because
So
the E and the A are similar.
express is when you're saying this is what I want to happen, this is what I want to happen. Address is what's going right, what's going wrong, and then resolve is you're coming up with a consensus on the solution.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, looking out for the little guys. You guys may have this in your unit, I don't know. It's more common than you think, but hazing is a conflict situation. And as an older scout person, you want to sort of like look out for that. Just try to be a friend to the younger scouts. I mean, some younger scouts may be really annoying. I know in my troop there's a couple. But you want to just sort of look out for those guys because they are the future of your unit. You want to make sure there is no hazing going on because that is exactly a conflict situation that we would deal with normally in a unit. You may not think it is, but it is a big problem. And if we don't watch out for stuff like this, it can continue and scouts can drop out of your unit and a bunch of bad stuff can happen. And you want to look out for stuff like that, and you help solve that problem like any other conflict situation. Sort of like an argument, you would try to talk to them and be like, talk to the older scout probably, for mostly, and just be like, okay, what's the issue here? Why are you doing this? And just go through the 4 tools and just be able to talk to them and try to get a solution. Bringing others in. There are some situations where you will want to bring other people in, because some situations, although some of you may think you're Superman and you can do all, there's a lot of stuff that you want to have adult leaders deal with, like drug, alcohol, all sorts of problems that can happen in your unit. You want to bring adults in. You can't deal with every situation. I mean, some stuff you can't. I mean, you want to bring adult leaders in anyway, but some stuff you may want to step down and be like, hey, this is what's happened. Just be like, this is all I know about the situation, and just sort of step down and be like, I can't do this. I realize this is over my head, and just have the adults sort of deal with it in their way. Summary, even with the best leadership, conflict can happen. Storming is the phase where most conflict will occur. You want to look out for that and try to get over the storming phase. You want to use the 4 tools for pretty much any conflict. And look out for the new scouts, port hazing, just cover everything you know when dealing with conflict. Just try to look out for storming, look out for conflicts, and if you see them, use the 4 steps. I mean, it's really quite simple. I mean, if you follow it, you're probably guaranteed success if you do everything perfectly. I mean, there's some situations where it may not be, but most of the time, this is like the proven way that they solve conflicts in real units. So if you just follow all this, the 4 steps and everything, you should be okay. And I think we're done.
What's that?
We're done.
Oh, sorry.